We're trying again. Welcome, everybody. This is Lily Dale Radio. I hope the audio is okay. It was telling me I wasn't have audio. So here we are. As usual, as you are joining in, please do say hello, especially because I am having issues with my audio this evening, apparently. So let me know if you can hear me as you are joining in. So I will just start all over. So I'm Colleen Vanderzijden, and this is Embracing Your Essence on Lily Dale Radio. Tonight we are talking about inner peace and how we can achieve inner peace, and how so many times we are struggling with life and we have some suffering and things that happen. Thank you, Laura. Okay, good. Yeah, my microphone died last week, and I've been trying all sorts of things to make it work, and I think it's a computer issue. But anyway, hopefully you can hear me just as well. So I want to thank you all again for joining me, and I'm Colleen, and thank you, Sheila. And we are, as I said, going to be talking about inner peace and some ideas to help you achieve inner peace, because this is something we all need. And details. lilydaleassembly.org. You can find out what's happening this summer. The catalog is online, but you cannot yet sign up for classes. But the catalog is there, so at least you can see what's coming. Just flip through the pages and start looking, and you'll see what you want to do so that you can start making plans for your summer. I'll be teaching 4 classes this summer: Manifest Your Limitless Life, which is the first weekend in June; Navigating the New Reality After Loss, which is about grief or loss of people, jobs, relationships. I'm going to be talking Courageously You, of course, goes with my book. And the other one, I always forget the other one. Oh, Empowered Empath, the Empowered Empath. So those are the ones I'll be doing this summer. You can check all that out on my website, ColleenVanderzijden.com, or psychicmediumcolleen.com, and that will work. Hold on, I'm checking the comments to make sure that we are all good. Okay, we seem to be good. Somebody, you'll just have to let me know what my sound is like, because everything's wacky right now. Anyway, hi Chuck, nice to see you. So let's see, I told you the websites. Now my retreat, I have a retreat coming up called Reimagine Your Life. If you have been stuck in indecision, you've had a problem, you're not sure what you want to do with your life, you want to figure out a better life, we're going to do this great in-person retreat at the beginning of June called Reimagine Your Life. We are going to talk about connecting to your inner wisdom, removing blocks, amplifying intentions, manifestations. We're going to come up with some plans for moving forward. And we will be doing this with so many fun things. We are just going to have so many fun things. We're going to do dowsing and body messages and color, crystals. We're going to do a life adventure board. We're going to do energy empowerment techniques and auras and inspirational channeled writing, all sorts of things. That's going to be so much fun. And it's the beginning of June. Seats are starting to fill up, though. So if you're thinking about coming, you might want to take some action toward that, because there may come a cutoff point where I'm like, sorry, I can't take any more. The room is limited. Thank you, Laura, for letting me know the sound is great. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you. So today, as we get going, talking about inner peace, please do ask questions as usual, and you know how I love to jump off topic, and I will be right with you doing that. So we are going to be talking about inner peace. Now, I have a friend who was waiting to find out if she was going to get offered the job she wanted. She really wanted this job, and it was perfect for her. And as time went by without an answer, she became more and more miserable. Have you ever had that experience where you're waiting for the answer for something and it doesn't come, and you start getting worried and stressed out and miserable? For my friend, her inner critic started to ramp up and tell her that she wasn't going to get the job because she obviously wasn't good enough. And with this uncertainty of the situation, her emotions were all over the place as she kept thinking about this job. She was going back and forth and up and down with hope and despair, and how she really, really wanted to know if she was going to get the job. She said if she would just knew the answer, she would feel better, right? Have you ever been there in a situation like that, where you're stuck in uncertainty, or you're feeling like you aren't getting what you want? And we start obsessing over the right answer, which is, of course, the answer we want, right? And we feel impatient, and then we feel worried we might not get what we want. Sometimes when I'm talking to people about their lives, lots of times we do talk about relationships, and people will say things like, I really want a partner, but I can't find one. Or sometimes they might say, I meet somebody and they seem like a great person, but for whatever reason, it doesn't work out. And after a while, because we're not getting what we want, which is a relationship, right? We start thinking to ourselves, this is impossible. All the good ones are taken. There must be something wrong with me. And then we start to think about how we'll be alone for the rest of our lives. And then we feel miserable, just like my friend who didn't hear about the job. So what causes us to get stuck in this misery? What is causing this pain and suffering? We agonize over how our lives should be, or how we want them to be, or how they're not what we want them to be. And we want certain things and we don't get them. And then we suffer and we criticize ourselves for not being good enough. And we feel like we should be a better person. And then we feel hurt by people who don't seem to love us, but they should love us because they're family. We get stuck in our mind and we go in circles. And how do we break this cycle? We can't seem to do it. So we're trapped in this stress and this worry and this pain and this suffering. What is happening here? Why does this happen? Why does our mind go in circles like this and cause us so much misery and suffering? The key is that we need to move into a state of non-attachment. We want to have inner peace. And to do that, moving into a state of non-attachment will help us get there. The Dalai Lama said, attachment is the origin, the root of suffering. Hence, it is the cause of suffering. Interesting thought, isn't it? We get stuck in pain and suffering when we're attached. I will explain this to you. I will give you examples of how we can be attached, what this means, so that you understand it. Because when we understand what's happening, we can change our lives and we can access the inner peace. When I first figured this out many years ago, I was surprised. I didn't realize I was attached to as many things as I was, and that those attachments were what was causing me peace, or causing me pain and suffering, and getting me out of my peace. Now, just to be clear, for those of you who are in the medical fields and metaphysical fields, and some people think attachments, we're talking about spirits that have attached to you. I am not talking about that. I'm attaching other things here. So we can be attached to a belief. We have a belief that life should be a certain way, and when it's not that way, we have pain. That's a very simple one. We get that one, right? We can be attached to an opinion. We believe something to be true, we feel strongly about it, but if others don't agree with us, we might be upset. So that's causing us pain. We can be attached to a feeling. Maybe we like complaining or worrying. I know we would deny it, but I know when I started looking at myself, I found out I did like complaining. But it's a very disempowering habit. So I could see this attachment and get rid of it. We could be attached to an expectation like we want others to act a certain way. And when they don't, we get upset. We can be attached to an expectation that we get in our car, it's going to drive where we're going, but we got a flat tire. And now that has interrupted our day. We can be attached to a situation. We like it the way it is, and we resist the change. We don't want it to be different, right? We can be attached to a want, like my friend. I want that job. We can be attached to a specific outcome. Again, like my friend, I want that job, and only that job is going to make me happy. We can get attached to who we think we are. We can get attached to our story. We can get attached to people. We can get attached to material possessions. We can get attached to things we want as well as things we don't want. Isn't it amazing? So when we think about this attachment and how it affects us, to move into the state of non-attachment, what is that? So what I'm going to do is explain that, what non-attachment is. Then I'll go through some examples of what attachment looks like, because as I said, we may not even realize how we're attached to things. Then, of course, you know me, we're going to talk about a few ideas to let go of those attachment thoughts that cause suffering, so we can move into that non-attachment. When we do this, we get back into inner peace, and we are in our meaningful, joyful life that I'm always talking about. So non-attachment. Sometimes people mix up non-attachment and detachment, okay? They are not the same. Detachment is when we separate from our emotions, when we're disconnected from them. We might not want to feel our emotions, and it can be a defense mechanism, and we're trying to avoid pain, right? So it's kind of like numbing ourselves. So detachment is separating from our emotions. We get detached. Sometimes people think non-attachment means we shouldn't have any material possessions. We shouldn't be attached to anything at all. And in their minds, they think about material possessions as an attachment. Sometimes people think it means we shouldn't have emotions. Now, we can be non-attached to things, but we will still have emotions. And that is good because we don't want to bypass our emotions. We have to feel them to process them. Okay, sometimes people think non-attachment means we don't care about our lives. We do care about our lives. We want to live our glorious, wonderful lives and have as much fun as possible. Sometimes people think it means we don't have goals or dreams, but this is not the case. Non-attachment is being present and mindful. We are in the moment and we're paying attention to that moment. Our happiness does not depend on our external circumstances. That's a frequent place where we will attach to things. We want certain things. We want those specific outcomes. When we're in that state of non-attachment, we don't get trapped in disempowering or false beliefs. We don't fixate on those specific outcomes. We don't fixate on negative beliefs. We don't fixate on the words that our inner critic might be saying to us. We don't desperately hold on to things we want, okay? Worrying that we might lose them, okay? We aren't attached to wishing that our life circumstances were different. We don't let wants become our focus to the extent that they ruin our lives and we suffer. When we are present and mindful, when we are in that state of non-attachment, we let go. We let go of the attachments. We let go of the wants. We let go of the specific outcomes. We let go of expectations. We let go of all of that. And we allow life to come to us. We're in that spiritual flow, connected to our true self, our soul, where we don't force and we don't control. We're guided by the universe. We move into freedom, where we're not all entangled in all these worries and stress and everything. Our lives become happier and more meaningful and peaceful. We're back to that inner peace. Yeah, Renee, sending love, feeling sad today, attached to a situation that I don't want, but having trouble detaching. Yeah, it is interesting, and this is a very high level concept to be talking about, actually. This is very high level. So if you've never heard anything like this before, open your mind up to it. And you know me, I'm going to explain it all out so you get it, you understand. So just open up and just see if things start to make sense for you. I'll describe some situations and show what attachment looks like. And then we will again discuss how to move past them, how to let them go. I've got a couple specific strategies I'll share, of course, but we will do that. Once we recognize where we're attached to things, what it looks like, it's much easier to let go, right? If we don't know we're attached to something, we can't let it go. But if we start really opening up and looking at it, we can see. And then we might be surprised, like I was, to recognize how many things we are attached to. So my friend that I mentioned earlier about wanting the job, she's attached to a want. She wants it. She's attached to the outcome. How many times do we get stuck with something like that? You know, in the past, I've had several houses sell, and trying to sell houses. It's just been the past few years, there's been a lot of houses and movings and things like this. And if you've ever bought or sold a house, things don't go according to timing. They never do. And there have been times I've gotten caught up with, oh, is somebody going to buy this house, or they want to buy the house, but they're not doing the next step? Is it going to happen? And I would start to get caught in that stress and that worry. Is it going to happen? My outcome, my specific outcome is I want somebody to buy the house. And I would get stuck there and I'd get miserable. We do this. And when we do this, we want an answer. We want it to be what we want it to be. That's when we get stuck and we worry and we stress. I had a client once who wanted her family to visit her, and I actually tell this story in my book, and I will mention my book again, of course, Courageously You. People are really liking it. I'm so happy about that. Courageously You. So it's a book to help you reclaim your joy, be happier. So in there, I explain the story. I'll give you a brief rundown here. This woman wanted her family to come visit her, but they were so busy with their little kids and their jobs that it was hard for them to get there. And so she was upset they weren't visiting her. She was attached to the belief that her kids and grandchildren should visit her because that's what happened when she was growing up. They visited her grandparents. This became a belief in her mind. So she's attached to a belief that this is a sign of respect. It's attached to a belief that that's what they should be doing. Now, her schedule was much different. She had more free time. It was much easier for her to drive to their house and visit than it was for the reverse, for them to come to her house. Because she was so stuck in this belief that they should come to her, she refused to change her mind. She wouldn't change her mind. So she was stuck. She was upset and she was unhappy. So she was attached to that belief and it was keeping her stuck in pain. When if she had switched it around and taken responsibility for how she felt, she could have driven over there and taken care of it and seen her kids all the time, and it wouldn't have been an issue. But she was stubbornly stuck in that attachment, right? Now, sometimes when we have an illness, something's happening in our body, physical, mental, we get attached to the thought that we wish our lives were the way it used to be, where we weren't going for medical tests, where we didn't feel sick, where we didn't have that car accident. I had a car accident years ago, and I could have gotten stuck in the attached thought of, oh boy, I can't believe this happened, and I wish it had been different, and I wish I felt better, and I didn't have the broken collarbone, and I could play my violin, and I could whatever I wanted to do. I could get stuck there. But what happens is when we think about when life was better and we get attached to that and we want it and we want to return to that, attachment makes it hard for us to accept what is happening in the present, and then we can't move forward, and we get stuck in that stress, that worry. We get stuck there. Attachment is insidious. It's insidious. It just does not. It's everywhere, okay? But awareness is how we're going to get rid of this. That's how we're going to start it. Lots of times we are attached to people pleasing. How many of you guys are people pleasers? We want to keep other people happy. Sometimes we change our behavior to conform or fit in. We want to be approved. We want to be validated. We want to be accepted. We want to be liked. We're attached to a belief, possibly, that other people's opinions are more important than ours. One of my clients actually said to me once that they didn't trust themselves. They trusted other people. She was attached to several things. One, the belief that other people knew more about her life than she did. So that, of course, takes us to she didn't believe she should trust herself. She didn't believe in herself. So that's an interesting one, isn't it? Sometimes we think and we believe we have to sacrifice ourselves for family or friends. It becomes a belief. We're attached to this belief that we should put our own needs last, that we should do everything we can for other people, and we forget about ourselves. When we sacrifice ourselves like this, we're not living in alignment with our soul. When we're suppressing who we are, we don't feel like ourselves. Being attached to certain beliefs can cause us to be sad, feeling unloved. We could be irritated. We might feel like we're being taken advantage of. Now, if you're experiencing any of those feelings, there's a sign that you're attached to something. All of this will cause pain and suffering. We can be attached to people, of course. We've all heard stories about somebody who is in a relationship and they're very clingy. You know, they want to know where you are all the time. They want you to check in. They're clingy. They're trying too hard. They're attached to that other person, and it's probably based in fear. They're afraid they're going to lose them, okay? Sometimes we might be attached to the idea that if a relationship ends, our life is ruined, okay, that we can't go on. And we might be attached to the belief that we have to have somebody in our lives as a partner in order to have a wonderful life. And that's not true. We could be attached to the story of how we are not loving. People don't love us enough, so obviously we must not be loving. We might think we're not loving. We might think we're not worthy of a kind, loving partner. And so we might attract the wrong people. We all want to be liked, right? So lots of times we will change our behaviors to try to get other people to like us because we are attached to a belief that we may or may not be aware of, that we are not good enough. There are so many different ways we can be attached to things. One more thing, if we're attached to specific outcomes, we might not be able to see other options. So there's a lot here to think about. Attachments can come from fear, insecurity, unworthiness, feelings of lack, right? We're not going to have this. This can cause us to be closed off, and we resist what is happening in life. We don't see the opportunities. We might make stereotypes and assumptions. We believe life and people should be a certain way. Now, when we let go of the attachments, we will be free of the suffering, the worry, the stress, and the pain. We'll trust that the life process is bringing us what we need so we can have that inner peace. So how are we going to let go of attachments? Laura's saying, you first have to love yourself, and others will follow. That is so, so true. I recently saw someone saying that their partner had left them, and they were just distraught, of course. But their next sentence was, and I need to find somebody else right now. And I thought, whoa, how about some healing first? How about some healing? How about to get comfortable with yourself first? How about loving yourself first and getting back to your center so that you're back to who you truly are? And then you can move forward looking for the right person. So how are we going to let go of attachments? I, of course, have 3 steps, right? But the first one is we have to discover what we are attached to. We have to know what we're attached to. How do we figure this out? If you are upset about something, it is likely that you are attached to something, right? It's likely you're attached to something. So your emotions can help you become aware. You follow the emotions to see what the source of attachment is. Lots of times what we'll find is that we're resisting what's happening in life. We are not accepting life as it is, okay? So all of those examples I just gave you, the examples about, the person wanting to know about getting the job, okay? She's resisting that she doesn't know yet, okay? So that is a sign of resistance. When we want someone else to act differently and we get upset that they're not, we're resisting who they are. When we have a challenging life situation and we don't like it, we're resisting it if we get caught in those emotions where we're stuck in the stress and the worry. Okay, resistance, noticing the resistance will lead you to what you are attached to. Usually it's an outcome, a belief, a thought, or an expectation. Thank y'all for sending stars. Very sweet of you. I see I have a stars party challenge started, Facebook says. So what we'll see is we start resisting. We resist what is. Now, as I started the show tonight, okay, let's just use that as an example. My microphone died a little while ago. I don't know why. I've been working on it. I've been talking to everybody. And so I tried out another microphone earlier today, a clip-on microphone. I did a test live video before this started, and the microphone was working. But when I started this, it wasn't working. So I had to shut down and start over. Before I knew about all of the stuff I've been talking about on all my shows, I would have been like, oh no, and I would have been really stressed out. I would have been attached to the fact that I had done all of these steps to be prepared for tonight, and it didn't work. I could have been attached to the fact that you might judge me for not being professional enough and not being able to get my sound right. I could have been attached to the idea that I didn't know what I was doing, and obviously I was stupid. There are so many ways I could have been attached to something which would have caused me pain and suffering. But because I understand this, I intentionally went, no, it's all good. It's all good. I just will do it. I'll start again. They'll get it. You guys know me. You know I'm going to be here. You know I'm going to do the best I can. And I'll order another microphone and see if it works with my computer. Or I'll buy a new computer. That might be the next thing. But there's always a solution. There's always something. So we don't have to get attached. If I had gotten attached to all this, I wouldn't have been in my flow here to talk to you tonight. Okay, so that's a simple thing. We can get attached to all sorts of things, but the emotions will lead you there so you can figure it out. Use your emotions. If you are having difficult emotions, then you're probably resisting something. So as we're thinking about this, are you becoming aware of some things you might be attached to? Let us know here in this. And thank you so much for sending stars, everybody. You guys sent 500 stars in 5 minutes. Yay, activating a stars party. So that's really exciting. How fun is that? So now, something else I do want to talk about, because I always say something like this. We must be aware of our emotions, okay? We want to process them. What happens sometimes is when we're attached to something, we're expecting something, we're not getting it. All of those things, when we're attached, we get stuck in the emotions. We keep going round and round, right? Okay, that's where we know we're stuck. You're going round and round. You keep worrying, you keep thinking, you keep obsessing, you keep complaining that life is not the way you want it to be, etc. Okay, that's how you know. Once you notice, if you need to feel emotions, feel them. We can't skip them. Never skip your emotions. You must feel them. Don't bypass. So feel the emotions. Thank you, Courtney. I'm feeling much better. I have no idea what it was last week. Actually, I'm really thinking it was COVID again, because that felt pretty much the same way as it did in January. Lucky me. But I'm much better now. Thank you. So we want to be aware. Follow the emotions. Feel the emotions. Now, your words can also help you. Now, you're following the emotion. You're looking at what you're resisting. Pay attention to your words. You'll use words like, I want this, and I'm not getting it. They're always mean to me. They always criticize me. This is good. This is bad. Okay, we're making judgments, good or bad, right or wrong. Those are signs that you're attached to something. Should, shouldn't. Okay, I should do this. My family should love me, but they don't. And then why don't they love me? And then we're off and running again with that attachment. We expect our family to love us. Let that attachment go. Sometimes some of our family doesn't love us. It's the way it is. Yes, it can cause you pain. If it does, feel it and then move on. Don't get stuck there expecting somebody else to change. So we want to let it go. Pay attention to the words. That all ties in. So when you're exploring what you're attached to, be curious. Don't judge yourself and go, oh, I'm attached to so many things. My life is so hard. No, you just want to become aware. Be curious. Look at it without self-judgment. And as you look at it, you'll start to get a better understanding. Okay, why? What's going on? Maybe it's security. Maybe you feel a need to know something because you're going to feel safe. And if you know that that's why you're attached, you may need to learn how to be comfortable in uncertainty. If there's anything the pandemic has taught us, it's to be comfortable in uncertainty, right? We are not always going to know what happens. That's the way life is. So why do we resist that? Okay, let go of that expectation, that attachment, and go, you know what? Life is the way it is. I'm just going to do the best I can and move on. Sometimes we are attached because of fear, right? I don't want to lose this person. I love them so much. If I lose them, my life will be horrible. I don't know how I'll go on. And before we know it, we have catastrophized and we have ruined this present moment. In the state of non-attachment, we're in the present moment and they're mindful. So if we're not getting what we want, pay attention. Why? Is it because of fear? Or is it just simply you're trying to feel better in uncertainty? But if you can find the root, is it fear? Look at it. Do you want to waste your moments on something that might happen? Don't do that. Recognize it. Now, here's a simple story of an attachment. A long time ago, I went to the beach. I think I went to the Dominican or Jamaica or someplace. And I love the beach. The beach is my thing. And so I got there. I only had like a week, and I was so excited to go. I could hardly wait to be warm and be in the sun. And don't you know, I get there and it's all cloudy. And as I was sitting there and I'm going, oh, it's so cloudy. I was so bummed out. And I recognized I was attached, that I wanted it to be a certain way, and it wasn't that way. I then had the choice. Was I going to stay bummed out because the sun wasn't shining, or was I going to still have a good time, even if the sun wasn't shining? I recognized it and I chose to have fun anyway. I let go of that want. I let go of it, intentionally let go of it, and moved forward. Noticed, let go, and I had a great time. And the sun came out eventually. Flu bee is going around. So is it COVID or the flu? Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? I didn't have a fever though, so no fever. And that's the same kind of COVID I had last time. Here we are, whatever. It's not important because I'm feeling good today. So lots of times we cause our own misery as we're attached to wants and needs because we just don't know yet. We weren't aware. We don't understand. And remember, those attachments are based in fear, limitation, lack, insecurity, unworthiness. So the first step is to become aware. Become aware of what you are attached to. Yeah, I thought about allergies too, but it was still a little weird. Same medicine for both, so it was all good. Okay, so the first one is awareness. Now, if you are just joining in, I should tell you I'm Colleen van der Zijden. You can connect with me at my website, ColleenVanderZijden.com, and please do check to see if you are following me on my page. Since Facebook switched over a few weeks ago, some of the people who were following me are no longer following me. It's kind of a shocker. So if you just want to check at the top of the page, if you're following me, it'll say following. If you're not, and it just says follow, click that and you'll be following. Yay, how fun is that? Okay, number one, awareness. Find out where you're attached. Just be open, make it a little game. The second thing, and this is so simple, and you would think I wouldn't have to say this, but I do. Decide if you're willing to let go of the attachment. Are you willing to let go of it? I've had people argue with me and say, you don't understand. I have to do this, or it's impossible to stop worrying, or I'm right and they don't get it. They just don't get it. Now, my partner says with some frequency, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? So, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? Okay, yes, maybe you are right and they don't get it. Are you just going to keep holding on to wishing they're going to change? Are you going to keep holding on to the pain just because you're right and you're going to show them some way or another? Why? Why sacrifice your present moment? Don't do that. You get to choose how you perceive your life, what you think your life is. If letting go of attachment means you're going to be happier, will you choose to do it? Some people will and some people won't. And that's the way it is. And I am not attached to what you decide to do. I hope you make a decision that will be right for you so you can be happier. All the arguments, every single argument against letting go of that attachment are signs of resistance, which means you're attached. Okay, you're attached to something. Letting go. Okay, so if you're afraid your partner might leave you, okay, and that's your attachment. So you're clingy, you're always checking up on them, you're worried, maybe you're excessively jealous or something like that, or maybe you've had this stuff directed at you. What we want to do is we want to let go of the emotional turmoil. If your thoughts are causing more pain, let them go. Are they helping the situation? No, let them go. If you have a dream or goal of a perfect job or perfect partner, sometimes people think I mean let go of the dream. No, absolutely not. Have your dream, have your goal, but don't be so attached to it that if it's not here in the timing you want it to be, that you step into miserable land. Okay, we don't want to step into miserable land. I'm sure that's a word. Okay, you can still have the dream, you can still have the goal, but you want to be happy in this moment. You can still work toward it. You can still take steps toward it, but don't be miserable while you're waiting for that perfect job, that perfect partner to show up. In non-attachment, you trust that when the timing is right, whatever you want will appear. You trust. So you don't get caught in the stress and the worry. You allow life to be the way it is. You still take action, but you do it from a state of trusting and acceptance that life is the way it is. Things happen. Life has a great deal of uncertainty in it. And when we stop resisting it, we accept that life is impermanent, that it's full of change. You can have the most amazing day tomorrow or today, and then tomorrow wake up and feel weird and go, oh, I'm feeling miserable today. But then you can choose to shift your energy in a different way. You can choose this. So it's so important for us to recognize that we, as Ron said earlier, we want to go with the flow. We want to go with the flow. I talk about that in my book too. because it is so simple. These strategies, the magical mind games in my book to help you get out of the stuck emotions in your head, get out of these stuck beliefs, anything that is blocking your joy. These simple, simple, simple magical mind games are the ones that create the profound results. Go with the flow. In my book, I say, sometimes people use it as a flippant piece of advice. They, oh, just go with the flow, just do that. But when we really practice it and put it into action, and we choose to go with the flow, that means we're not resisting it. That means we're accepting life is the way it is. And then as we do this, we're thinking more clearly and we're not getting caught in the suffering and the emotions. We don't identify with whatever is happening or the thoughts, okay? We just go with it. Amazingly, when we do this, we choose to go with the flow, what happens is we have greater mind clarity. And then if we can solve the problem, we do it. We have clear thinking, we can do it. And if we can't solve the problem, we accept it as it is, and we choose to move forward, moving back into inner peace. Anyway, isn't that something that we can do that? We have the power to do this. So to move into inner peace, we want to become aware of where we have attachments. Okay, where are they? What is it? What are they representing? Why are they there? For me, I was doing attachments my whole life before I even knew I was doing it. We want our lives to be certain ways. We want what we want when we want it, right? We want to be happy. And when we're not happy, we resist that, right? So we are actually attached to being happy. But we can have the goal of being happy and recognize and accept that there are some days where we may not be as happy, or some moments where we're not as happy as we'd like to be. And that's okay. It's the way it is. Ron is saying, and many times it seems we receive when we least expect it, right? Now, it's kind of interesting because I know somebody just said this in their head out there that, oh, Colleen, that it's too easy. You're making it too easy. And it's not that easy. And I'm telling you, it is that easy. It really is that easy. All you have to do is be aware and open, and then decide if you want to be happier. And if you do, can you let go of that turmoil that goes with the attachment? You'd be amazed what a simple decision can do. To say, you know what, this is happening right now, and it's really bothering me. Why is it bothering me? It's bothering me because I'm resisting what is. So I know I'm attached to something. What am I attached to? Why am I attached to this? What's going on there? So I understand it and go, you know what? I'm going to go in a different direction. It's okay. I'm just going to let it go. If I can't change it, then I'm going to deal with it and move on, right? Okay, so that's how you go through the process. The third step, of course, and I know you knew this all along, is trusting. We are part of the universe and the divine energy. My belief system, which I've shared with you many a time, is that everything we experience here in the physical life is part of our path toward living in alignment with our soul, toward living in our truth, which means that everything that happens to you, and I'm using that intentionally, even though you know how that goes, everything that happens is there for your benefit. It's there for you to reconnect to your soul. It's there for you to learn more about who you are. It's there for you to claim your inner peace and joy. When you understand that everything is there to help you, it's so much easier to let go of the problems and not get stuck in the thoughts about them. We can choose to let go of anything that is blocking us from living in alignment with our soul, with the peace and the joy that we deserve. Isn't that amazing? I know I say that a lot, but I find a lot of things amazing. I'm one of those people. Laura says the serenity prayer helps with this. It really does. It does. Let go of the things you cannot control. Let go of them. So whenever I get stuck in emotions and I catch myself, I recognize what's happening. I know that I'm attached to something. I know I'm resisting how I'm feeling or a situation or whatever it is. I have this really awesome magical mind game that I call Let Go and Trust. And of course, it's in my book, right? So let go and trust. This helps me recognize what I'm attached to, and then I make that intentional decision to let go of it. I explain it more fully in my book, of course, Courageously You, but for today's purpose, it is simply this. You are going to start with your emotions, and you are going to say, so say something is happening. Um, what could be happening? Well, in my book, I used the story of a relationship ending. It had ended, and I was having a hard time moving forward. I was still ruminating in my head with what went wrong and how I couldn't fix it, and how it was my fault, his fault, the whole thing, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth as it goes. So what I did is I would start out and I let go of whatever emotion came to my mind. I let go of the sadness. I let go of the fear. I let go of my anger. I let go of wishing life were different. And what would happen is I let go of emotions led me to what I was actually attached to, my thoughts. I let go of wishing life hadn't gone this way. I let go of this. I let go of wishing he had listened to me. I let go of trying to people please with him and try to keep him happy, whatever it is. And as you do, you just go through the emotions and see where you go, where you end up. I let go of this. I let go. So selling a house, right? If it's not working on my timing, I get all, worried in my head. I let go of wishing this would be faster. I let go of my fear it's never going to happen. I let go of wanting it to happen on my timing. I let go of feeling like I'm financially pressured and I need the money, whatever it could possibly be. So you go, I let go through whatever until you feel complete. You just go, go, go. And then you move into trust. I let go, blah, blah, blah. I trust that everything will happen in divine order. I trust that I know what I'm doing and it's going to be fine. I trust I am strong enough to get through this problem. I trust that I'm doing the right thing. I trust that I am guided by the universe. I trust that the correct words will come out of my mouth, whatever it is. As I do this, I'm letting go of the turmoil. I'm intentionally choosing to do this. It also helps me see that I don't have control over everything around me. So trying to control the uncontrollable is a sign of resisting and attachment. As I go through this process, let go and trust. If I had emotions or have emotions that come up and I feel like I need to feel them, I pause and I feel them. And then I move on and I let go of the next thing that needs to come up. Sometimes I have to do this a couple of times if it's a big issue that's in my life. But I also have found when I do this, lots of times I will rediscover my own feelings of inadequacy or unworthiness. Because whenever we're triggered by a situation, whenever something happens and we move into those emotions, it usually comes back to that root feeling of not being worthy, okay? As we start playing with letting go of these things, we start to find that inner peace. We start to get back into it. Now I'm going to look at the comments. When I decide, Candace, choose to feel happy, no matter what, it's such a relief to let go. It is, isn't it? It is such a relief. And then sometimes it seems that I find another situation to stress about, bad patterns. You know what that is, Candace? We have in our mind a natural negativity bias. When we were cavemen and women, we were always looking for things. We were fear-based. We were looking for the next problem on the horizon. We were looking for the next animal that might attack us. So our mind has been trained over eons, apparently, to look for problems. Okay? It just does it naturally. It's not anything we've done wrong. We may have amplified it because we've been stuck in that rut, in that pattern so long. But that's what's happening. So our mind is not comfortable feeling happy sometimes. It would rather find the next problem to worry about. So with awareness, as soon as we catch it, we may have to redo this again and say, whoa, wait a minute. I am going to stay in this happiness. I am going to let myself enjoy this space. Okay? And so we have to pull ourselves back. What I don't want happening is that we go from one thing to the next and the next to the next, and we're always doing something to try to process everything. But once we start letting go and choosing to let go, we will be happier. If something does pop up into your head and you get that negative thing, because I know my mind will do the same thing, especially at night, right, when we're tired. you know, because all of a sudden we're thinking, oh, what about this problem? What about that problem? And it can be hard to kind of rein our brain back in. But once we're aware, we can do it. We can get back there. Yeah, isn't that crazy? Beverly, I was recently confronted with a huge repair bill that was unexpected and that I don't have enough money to pay for. Does that mean I am attached to financial security? Not necessarily, because anybody who, remember, now we are, to some extent, we are attached to financial security, right? We need to have money. We do want to have money. It's necessary. Now, when we get a huge repair bill, of course, if we don't have quite enough money, we are going to have some fear. Okay, we are going to have some worry about what's happening. Okay? Because of that, we're resisting what's happening. So even though this is a legitimate life situation that deserves concern, what we want to be careful of is we don't get caught in the emotion of it, where we repetitively go over and over, I don't have enough money, I'm not going to have enough money, I'm not going to have enough money, I don't know how to pay for this, because we'll start that cycle. Instead, we can say, okay, this has happened, I have to deal with it. What am I going to do to move forward? How will I deal with this so that I can move forward? It's getting caught in the cycle where we're going to run into trouble. Okay. To accept that, it's kind of the same process. You become aware of it. You might accept that you are resisting the situation because it's hard. It's a hard, challenging one. So I'm resisting this. But once you notice you're resisting, you can go, okay, so obviously I want my life to be different. So that's an attachment, right? Okay. So there are healthy attachments and unhealthy attachments. Okay. A healthy attachment is when we handle it well and we don't get caught in the negative emotions. Okay. Tonight, I'm mostly talking about negative emotions. So that's what that is. And then you would have the same thing. You want to decide if you're going to move into the peace, the happiness, choose to let go of the turmoil. And then your mind is clear and you'll be able to come up with solutions to how to take care of that problem. You'll be able to do it. Okay. So just to make sure I'm clear, there are healthy and unhealthy attachments too. Okay. Samuel, I've been studying the spiritual world for the past few months, and one thing I learned is that we choose this life and the experience for our soul growth. I talked about that on the show a little bit ago, Samuel. Sometimes, what was I thinking as a soul when I chose this life? I know, right? Yeah, I don't remember when I talked about that and did that show, but we talked about how before we come here, we're actually very brave. And our soul says, you know, I want to learn as much as I can. So, and whoever the universe says back to you, okay, are you sure? Because you're choosing a pretty big piece here to bite off. You know, you're going to have this issue and this issue. You're going to have to solve this. You're going to have to learn this. You think that you're going to remember this conversation, but you're not. And then you come here and you're like, whoa, one problem after another. People who are on the spiritual path frequently find that we have situations that are challenging, and we have the choice of how we're going to handle them for our soul evolution. I think that was the name of the show, Soul Evolution. Yes, I know, and it is fun to think about, like, what was I thinking to come into this lifetime and to choose all these issues? What was I thinking? Laura says, I can assure you that I did not choose this life, but I'm choosing to get better. We'll see about that. Did you see if you could do a payment? Oh, I forgot about that, Laura. Message me. Send me a direct message thing. I just totally forgot. Sorry. My life has been a little bit overwhelming. If you guys are on my newsletter list, you probably saw my email today of my walking downstairs into my dining room, which is full of boxes and stuff. It looks like my other house is going to sell where I do readings. So the house I'm living in, around the corner from my other house, I have used the reading room as a storage room. So I've had to I'm clearing it out while I'm doing all these other things at once. So it was real interesting. A little bit of overwhelmment today, but I had a great Tuesday intention. I accept myself as I am today, and that immediately got me out of my head and out of the stress. It was great. Okay, so back to this. So the first one, of course, was awareness. We have awareness of what we are attached to. Resistance is a sign you're attached to something. Okay, you're resisting what is. You'll know because your emotions will be going. Okay, and you'll notice some of your words, complaining, worries, etc. No, the payment rate was for the lady with the repair bill. Oh, okay. Sorry. Somebody had asked me about a payment plan for my retreat. So I guess it wasn't you. So anyway, so what first, noticing what you're attached to, then secondly, deciding if you're willing to let go of it. Do you want to let go of the emotional turmoil? Sometimes it's simple as making that decision. Yes, I'm letting go. I'm going to choose to be happy. Sometimes it's as simple as that. Sometimes you do need to move into that let go, go with the flow idea, and consciously, intentionally move that way. Okay, and then the third step is trusting the process of life, trusting the divine, trusting yourself to figure it out. And we talked about my magical mind game, Let Go and Trust, which you can read more about in my book, Courageously You. And if you have read the book, please do write a review. That would be wonderful. So as we start playing with these things, letting go of these things we're attached to, as we start noticing them, what's going to happen is you will not only get in that inner peace, find that peace, but you'll also get back into your joy. You'll get back there. It's moment by moment. In the state of non-attachment, we're in the present moment. We're mindful in the present moment. We're aware and we make choices to get us back to the present, back to who we truly are, back to living in our soul's alignment. Now, here's a little bit of irony. We don't want to get attached to wanting inner peace to the point that if we're not having it, we go, oh, I'm not having inner peace. We don't want to do that, okay? We will, every time we let go of an attachment, we let go of that turmoil. Every time we touch back into the inner peace, it becomes easier to touch in the next time. Because we know inner peace is there. It's there without a doubt. We don't question it. We know it's there. I love to play with my life situations and use them for self-growth. That is just one of my most fun things to do. I know it sounds insane, but it's one of my most fun things to do because I know that I have the power to reframe a situation, to change how I'm looking at something, to change how I'm looking at life, to release the turmoil, to release whatever I seem to be attached to, and move in a different direction. And the more I do it, the happier I become. It's truly amazing. Okay, so I think that is all I needed to talk to. I'm just skimming through the messages to make sure I didn't miss something. Okay, so what we're going to do is I will probably stop talking. It is almost 9. Oh my goodness, I talked a lot today. So we are going to do this this week. Have some fun. If you get upset about something, recognize you're probably attached to something. And then play with it and see where you come out. Feel free to write in the comments what you're doing. And I will love to see them and comment on them back if you want. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. And if you haven't checked my retreat out, please do. ColleenVanderzijden.com. Right at the top of the page, you'll see it says right there, Reimagine Your Life Retreat. Click on that. It'll take you right to the page. And if you want to come and play with us, we're going to have a ball. It's going to be so much fun. And also lilydaleassembly.org. Look for the catalog and you can skim through the pages and find what's happening. Everything is very delayed this year. The paper, there's apparently a paper shortage, so that it's not done being printed yet. They don't quite have the links up to purchase yet for workshops. I'm hearing it's supposed to be happening this week. Cross your fingers that it does. But you can go to my website, check things out, and you can see everything there. And please follow Lilydale Assembly Incorporated on Facebook, and follow me. Check at the top, see if you're following me. Colleen Vanderzijden, Medium and Intuitive Life Coach. You guys have fun, and I will see you next week. Bye.